All right. Good evening, everyone. As we know, we promised today that we are going to take us through CV writing because after we did our survey about what challenges people are facing, and then from that, we recognized that people said CV writing is one of the problems that they are facing. And like I have said before, CV writing is not something that I have time to be able to do. Hence why I've invited someone that I know is trusted that can deliver that for us. Hence why we invited Cecilia here, who is going to help us through this task of taking us through exploring how to write CV. And like I used to tell people, CV is the first thing that the recruiter will see. And if it's not matched to the job, you are definitely not going to be called for that job or not to be interviewed, perhaps. So the first thing we need to do is to know how to write CV. And like I said, CV is like the product representing you because you cannot go to meet the recruiter wherever the person is. Everything is done remotely these days. So we need to be able to write a good CV. And the person that we're doing justice to that for us is Cecilia Abba, whose company's name is Abba Celia Consulting. So I'll hand over to you, Cecilia, to do your presentation. You're welcome. So I'll hand over to you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, sir. Thank you. I don't know if I could go straight into the training. So this training for this section is all about CV writing. And in this training, I'll be showing you how to write a winning CV that will get you noticed by recruiters and employers. Just like your trainer, Mr. Saeed, have said that your CV is the very first impression that recruiters will have of you. So you need to make sure that it is impressive. So during this training, you will learn certain things, and these are some of the training objectives or things you're going to get from this training. The first thing is that you will need to know what research that needs to be done before you start writing your CV. You also need to know how to structure your CV to best please recruiters and hiring managers. And also, you need to know how to format your CV for a professional outlook, and then how to write a profile that will grab recruiters' attention, how to detail your work experience and education, and if and how to include your hobbies and interests. Before I go deep into the class, I would like you to know that the biggest mistake that job seekers make is failing to research their target roles before writing their CV. If you don't know the knowledge and skills that your potential employer is looking for, it will be difficult to write a CV that impresses them. So, before you start writing your CV, you need to go to the job board and browse through a lot of relevant job adverts in your industry. Take note of the counter different requirements. Focus on hard skills such as industry-specific, IT knowledge, languages, and qualifications. Well, let me share the screen so we could start it properly. All right. Are we there? Are we there together, sir?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right. All right. So, for this very training, just like I said, we're learning how to write a CV. So, what is a CV, you might ask? A CV is an organized summary of your educational and professional history, usually prepared for job applications. A CV includes anything a person wants to express about. This includes your career goals, your education, experiences, which includes, that is, your work experience, activities, and then honors, that is, in terms of awards. The general guideline is that a new graduate CV should cover no more than two sides of A4 papers. Preferably, that's the limit your CV to one page. That is, your CV should not go more than a page. But if it should go more than a page, it should be like two. The minimum is one, the maximum is four. But oftentimes, it is often recommended that your CV should be on just one page. The general guideline is that your CV should include personal and contact information, objective, academic background, work experience, skills, extracurricular activities, honors and awards. Now, once you have the list of the most in-demand skills in your industry, you now have the knowledge on how to focus your CV. The structure and format of your CV will define the overall outlook, how the document will be read. Your CV should look flawlessly professional and easy for busy recruiters to navigate and find the information they need. Firstly, you should use a word processing program like Microsoft Word or Google Docs to increase your to create your CV. They are very easy to use and are globally recognized formats for CV across all industry all over the world. Now, on the general guidelines, it should be noted that no single correct way to present a CV. Yeah, quite right. You should target your CV to be to the specific job.
Hello. Hello, Cecilia. We can't hear you again. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
You can hear me now, right? Okay, all right, all right. Okay, so to create your CV, you need to target it to a specific job. You need to be informative, but concise and make every word counts, accurate in content, spelling, and grammar. Any current positions should be described in present tense or previous positions. Now, let me leave the slides and go straight to the point. To create your CV, the first thing in the structure of your CV is the fact that you need to create your header. The header should include your name, your phone number, and email address. Ensure that you use a phone number that is always available and make sure your email address is professional. If your current email address, for example, let's say is something like candygirl@gmail.com or hotdude@yahoo.com, it's time to set up a new email. Don't you think so? An email such as, let's say, Cecilia@gmail.com or abba@gmail or yahoo.com would be more preferably. HRs can be extra about these little things, so don't let that affect your chances. Make sure you have a good email contact. So one of the first things that would definitely come up on your CV, first of all, is what is your header. Your header, just like I said in the first instance, includes your name, your phone number, your email address, and also if you have a LinkedIn profile, you add the URL address there. The second thing you need to add to your CV is your summary, or otherwise known as the profile. Your summary is a few 2 to 3 sentences that summarize your career so far, or your career goals, or why you are applying for the job. If you're a fresh graduate, it's better to summarize your career goals and why you want the job. Could be something like, for example, Cecilia is a graduate with a first-class degree in marketing. She has a strong passion for PR and marketing communications, and with relevant certifications, skills, and experiences in digital media. Cecilia is poised for opportunities to work with high performance teams. So your summary actually contains something like this. It has to be precise and very concise. Okay. Um, just like I said, from the personal information, the first information there is your contact and personal information, which includes your name, your home address, of course, which shows your location, and then your phone numbers, and then your email address. And the second detail there that you need is your what is your career objective, your summary, or your profile. In there, you have to talk about your goals, what you have to offer. Okay, you talk about the, your expertise, what you can do. All right. The next thing here is your academic background. Your academic background highlights your education, your educational achievements. It should be simple and straight, right? Don't go listing your kindergarten and primary school here. Leave those for your biography. At worst, begin with your secondary education and any other relevant education you receive after that. By your third or fourth year in the career journey, your secondary school education should fly out of your resume. So your resume should contain your university information, your grade, your grade, and then your date of completion or expected date of graduation. The next section here is your work experience. Now, this is where it becomes dicey for a young graduate, especially the one without experience. At this point, you have to think of all the places you have volunteered formally and informally, especially in positions that have one or two things to do with the role you apply for. Did you go for an internship anywhere and did something quite related to the role you're applying for? State it. Are you a worker in a church? Do you do something related to the job you're applying for? State it. Have you ever been part of a community service before, which has to do with the job in question? You state it here. Have you tried something new on your own, like a project, a blog, or just a pastime, which has something to do with the job of which you have proof? State it. This is how you can smartly fill this part of your CV as a young graduate. It's not just about listing your experience, it's about stating what you achieve. So you have to use accomplishment verbs like accelerated, achieved, expanded, influenced, solved, maintained, generated, effected, advised, controlled, trained, utilized, and so many other. So your work experience, just like you can see on the slide, includes various experiences, both paid and unpaid. Group your experience according to its relevance to the targeted job. That is related experience and other experiences. Part-time and full-time work, summer jobs, internships, volunteer experience. Your work experience should include title, organization. The title here refers to your role, okay, the role you played in, or what was your your job position in a particular organization at a particular point in time. And then the organization here, you need to put in the name, and then you put in the responsibilities, oftentimes in form of achievements, and then the location of this organization, and then you date it, the period in which you must have worked with this organization. This demonstrates evidence of your experience by focusing on skills, results, and accomplishments. Now, your skills section. Here, you will need your hard and soft skills. Hard skills are the handy skills that are immediately useful for the work that needs to be done. It could be graphics design, MS Office proficiency, etc. The soft skills are the ones needed to work with other people within the organizations, such as team spirit, communication, creativity, problem solving. A lot of people lie here. Don't lie about the hard skills, even if you decide to add some funny stuff to the soft skills. There is really no way to know you lied until you start working. But on a serious note, try building those soft skills. They will come in handy, and when you start work, and they can get you promoted quickly. So, this section should provide a quick overview of your strongest and most pertinent skills or qualification. Indicate computer competencies or technical skills, specialized communication skills, interpersonal skills, research skills, lab proficiencies. Include foreign language skills and other technical skills related to the position. Now, the honor. This is where you include your awards, the honors you must have received, let's say during your education, during your period of while studying or while working. Any form of award at all that you think could boost your chance of getting noticed by recruiter. You could include those honors and awards in this section, including where the organization where these awards are being backed from, and also you date it too. You put in the period in which you actually got this award. Now, if you have taken professional courses, you become a member of a professional body in the course of your training in school, or you did some relevant professional activities during your time in school. You can state it. This is where your short courses, which I strongly which I strongly advise you to start taking, just like the one you're taking here at just like the one you are taking right now, the cybersecurity. They'll further buttress what you have in your experience field or help you cover for deficiency in that area. A lot of HR managers want to see your desire for learning and a strong affinity for knowledge. If you also did some activities in school, like being the president of your student association, joined professional clubs, or you took an admin role in whatever society you join in school, they come, they all come in handy here too. There are possible points for discussion during your interview. So there are possible points for discussion during your interview.
Cecilia, you're on mute again. Can you check from your side? You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, all right. Thank you so much. So your civil section could also include extracurricular activities. In here, you briefly describe your involvement in campus or club organizations. Emphasize accomplishments and leadership roles. Here you include the role, the organization, location, and dates of involvement. Community volunteer work, if not already included, you also include it here in this section too. Now, kindly find tips on how to present your CV. The first thing you need to take into cognizance is the formatting. Formatting is an important part of a good resume. Here you should take note of clear fonts, avoid fancy fonts. Instead, use a business-like font such as Times New Roman. These are they are standard formats um, for CVs, okay? So you should also have lots of white space. A good resume is easy to read. White space is essential for this. And then use bullet points are easier to scan and understand. And also your fonts should be large. It should the font of your resume should be visible for the recruiter. You can use 11 or 12 font size. If it's too small, it will make reading difficult. So you should allow your fonts to breathe, okay? Few image or logos, avoid images, yes. Do not include your photos. Do not include an image of you on your resume or logo, which distracts the HR or the employer or the recruiter from the main information. Keep all forms of images out of your resume. Keep it out of your CV, okay? So just like I said in the first instance, in order for you to in order for you to create your CV, there is need for you to actually research your target role before writing your CV. Okay? So you actually understand or know, have a good understanding of the knowledge and skills that your potential employer is looking for. Okay, it will be very difficult, just like I said in the first instance, it will be very difficult for for a recruiter to actually, for you to impress a recruiter if you do not know the knowledge and skills required to actually write your CV. So go to job board and make research of the skills and the expertise that is needed for that role you want to apply. So once you have the list of the most in-demand skills in your industry, you have the knowledge and of how to tailor your CV accordingly.
I think you're on mute again. You're on mute, Cecilia. Can you check your mic? You are still on mute, Cecilia.
All right. Oh, yes. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I don't know if we are on the same page. If there's any question.
All right. You want to ask questions? You want them to ask you questions, right? Do you want them to start asking questions now, Cecilia? If you can hear me.
And ask questions, please.
Okay. All right. On you go. You have been told to indicate if you have any question. Please raise up your hand and I'll allow you to unmute yourself. Indicate by raising up your hand. There's a question for you there, Cecilia, in the chat. Somebody asked what is job board? Perhaps. Did you hear me? Hello, Cecilia, did you hear me? I'm not sure she's hearing me. Hello, Cecilia, can you hear me? Oh, well, I don't think she can hear us. Job board, for example, is like what we used to call chat rooms.
This house is just too noisy.
Hello, so if you go to those sites, you'll be able to see people talking about the same
Hello,
jobs.
I can see a question here.
Yeah,
They
that's the
said,
question.
from
Yeah.
Femi, I want to ask, job board, is it a site? Is it okay?
Yes.
Are we together, sir?
Yes. Answer the question, Cecilia. I'm sorry, I think you are struggling with our network on the side. There is a delay. Well, like I said, you have forum, chat room where people of like minds operate from. So, and they talk about
Hello, can you hear me?
roles. Yeah.
Hello?
Can you hear us now, Cecilia? We can hear you, but you can't hear us. Maybe you log out and come back in. Can somebody just drop it in the chat for her to log out and come back in? If she's here, she's not hearing us. Anyways, is a job forum where you can go. You see people talking about some particular jobs. Some of them you can go to Glassdoor, or if you go to PayScale, there are many of them that you can go to where you can get such an information. So I hope that makes sense. Any other question? I'll allow you to unmute yourself now because of time. We have a few minutes left. Any other question? You can unmute yourself now if you have any question. Aisha, you raised up your hand. Please, you have the stage. Ask your question. Can Aisha hear me? Can you try unmuting yourself now, Aisha?
Oh, hello, sir. I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if Cecilia is still here, but my question was I didn't understand what she meant by your CV can have a maximum of 4 pages and the minimum of 1 page. Is that what she said, or am I wrong? Because I didn't really understand what she meant.
Let me see.
Like the CV should have 2 pages, and it was really confusing.
Let me see if she's still here. Yeah, she's not back yet. But you know this rule about number of pages. I can tell you for a fact, my CV, I have about 5 pages on my CV. So the size of your CV is determined by the experience
Yes.
that you have. Some will say 2 pages, but for a graduate that's just coming off the university, they don't expect you to have too many pages unless you are the very busy type that even you don't have time for your academics. So for people like that, I think you struggle to make 2 pages. But for people that are experienced, you can easily make 2 pages. You even be struggling to make 2 pages. I mean, you said 2 pages. I have more than 2 pages. So I would say, from what Cecilia said, she mentioned 1 page, 2 pages, like you said, 4 pages. So it depends on the experience that you have. And one fantastic thing she mentioned is you have to make a research on the type of job you're applying for and make sure your CV tallies that. And it's not different from what we've been telling you guys, that you need to tailor your CV to the job you're applying for. So I think people are just sometimes, excuse me, they're even lazy for what will help them, which is not a good thing, right? If you know it's going to do you right, why delay it? Why don't you do it well? Because like we say, your CV represents you and you are not there to defend yourself, right? So that's why you need to do it the right way. I hope that answers your question, Aisha.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Any other question from any other person? I think there's one in the chat that I saw earlier. Let me see.
Can I ask a question?
Aziz, just hold on for me. I think Shola mentioned, I understand that many employers make use of ATS to screen applicants' CV. How can I identify what the ATS requirement is to ensure the CV is not rejected by the ATS? Yes, the quickest way to do that is, what is the ATS, application tracking system? That is what it means. And what is it going to do? It's going to look for keywords that are attached to that CV. So that CV must have mentioned some things, maybe your characteristics, your skills, basically your skill set, and then what kind of roles the person will be stepping into. So there are buzzwords. If they want to do, as in 7001, you see there, maybe they mention risk management, they mention supplier assurance. I'm just reading out this from my head, right? But that's what ATS will do. ATS will just look for those keywords that they've sprinkled on the CV and look for those. And if it's able to match them, it will just put your CV before the recruiter. And that's the way it works. I can't give you the statistics, whether it's to a particular percentage, but I know this is to a particular percent that it looks out for. But these days, there are ways you can beat this thing. All you just need to do, like I've just mentioned, just make sure your CV, you sprinkle it with what they are asking for, right? Once you've been able to put all those on your CV, and then the ATS is able to match your CV to those information, there you go to pick your CV and then land it on the table or the desk of the recruiter. So that is the way ATS works. And then in our training, we gave one site that you put the job spec, you put it there, and then you put your CV. It will compare the job spec with your CV. And that's what ATS does. So those that have attended our training, we've shown them this as part of the training. So Cecilia, you're back again. We were hearing you, but you couldn't hear us. So I know it happens. I don't know if you can hear me now. Can you hear me, Cecilia?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. I'm with you.
Okay, all right. Somebody wanted to ask a question. It's good that you're back.
All right.
Aziz, go on with your questions. Cecilia is back with us.
Okay, good evening. Thank you for the presentation. And I realized from the presentation that the emphasis is on graduates. And my question is for someone that is changing career, transitioning into a new career, how can that person structure his personal summary or his profile to reflect that the person is changing from a career to a new career? That's my question.
All right. You can hear me, sir?
We can hear you.
All right. Since you're transitioning from one career to another, your profile or your summary or your career objective has to capture it in such a way that, for example, you are moving from, let's say, a non-technical role to a technical role. You could say that you have to put it in such a way that, like, you put it to them that you are transitioning, and what will give you away oftentimes is often your skill section. And then if you volunteered in any role that in what you're trying to, in the new role you are trying to transition into, or in the new career you're trying to transition into. So it is advisable you get internship experiences or volunteering experiences in that role you want to transition into. And then you have skills that could actually give you a way to, so that when you are crafting your career objective, you could actually put it in that you have the expertise, you have the knowledge and the skill set. Okay, though you must not, you don't have all of the number of years or the adequate experience to actually work fully in that capacity. But for a start, you are new, you're on a lookout for that role, and you've actually taken a good step to actually transition in there. Need to take internship roles, okay? And then you need to work on getting those technical skills in that field or in that role you want to transition into. In that way, your career objective would make much sense. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you mentioned that, Cecilia. Just to add to what you have mentioned.
Thank you.
Yeah, Aziz, in addition to what Cecilia mentioned, is that we need to emphasize that she mentioned that volunteering. You see, volunteering, like I've mentioned to you guys before, you have some charity organizations around you. They are looking for people. They don't have money to pay employees to come and do jobs for them. When they even have, it's only a few that they have this kind of money for. So you can volunteer to help them make their things secure. And then they can even give you a role that you cannot even imagine. They can make you their information security manager, even though you are not. And on that, I know people that have done this before. They use that to pivot, and then they are working securely within cybersecurity now. If you think you are struggling with your CV getting seen or something like that, so those are ways you can do that to volunteer. You can approach them, knock on the doors, call them up, send them an email, and then see what happens from there. But again, you need to craft your CV, make it look succinct. Again, she mentioned something about certification. Certifications, you can just be taking them gradually and then put it on your CV as in view. So these are the ways that you can make your CV looks, interesting to attract for the recruiters to have a look. All right, Chiamaka, I can see your hand up. Please, the floor is yours. Ask your question.
Hello, good evening. I'm not asking question. I actually wanted to contribute. Okay. I'm contributing because of the last question the person asked. Can I ask what career you are transitioning from?
Aziz, I get that question is for you, Aziz. She's asking.
Yeah, I'm transitioning from healthcare.
Okay.
To cybersecurity.
To cybersecurity, but was it always healthcare? Are you a graduate? I'm sorry to ask. I'm just trying to know how to assist you.
Yeah, I'm a graduate.
Okay. Now, so remember when you are doing your healthcare, you went through series of experiences in healthcare, whether it's care job or anything. You went through some experiences. One of the experiences you have as a carer is that you have interpersonal relationship. That's a good skill. Do you understand? So there are some before as they're transitioning and they're preparing your CV on that. In addition to what our presenter has said and our boss, our Oga has said, you should also consider the fact that there are some skills you have from whatever previous experience you had, even from whatever course you graduated from. You can use it to tailor your CV and link it towards cybersecurity. Just make sure you are working in accordance with the job spec. Like example now, I'm a lawyer. There's nothing technical about law and there's nothing cybersecurity in law. So what I did was that I went in when we were doing the training, I went into looked around and I saw that there are some things that are related to that can actually link and say that these are the things I did as a lawyer that made me get interested in cybersecurity. Everybody, most times you see that everybody actually had some career change at some point. Maybe not everybody, some people. So what you just actually have to do is look at the experience you had and how it relates to cybersecurity. It definitely relates. Cybersecurity is very broad. Even if it's little use of Microsoft tools, it's something. So you can say, as a lawyer, what I did was that, as a lawyer, this is what I did. And then I now went into cybersecurity because when you go for interview, if you get to that point, they will ask you in your history as in how did you transition. So what I did was that I had interest in compliance, GDPR. Those are the things I said that sounds reasonable and is related to cybersecurity. So you can just say that you have interest in compliance and and other frameworks. Look at the frameworks, read them up. You don't need to have full knowledge of them, just little bits and pieces that you know. Read them up, add it that those are the things that now made you to decide to do cybersecurity. And then in the role you did, have you done the training? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay, he has. So in the training, you can now say that that was how you now transition to cybersecurity. And then you now say in your role, in your previous role, you did this, you did that, relating to compliance or whatever, as the case may be, or relating to the job description. But most importantly, always remember the job description. Tailor it to the unique job description for each job you're applying for. It's difficult. Sometimes you might not be able to have the time to be scanning and checking and all that. But if you can tailor it, there are some words, there are some cybersecurity words that you will see in the JD. You will just know that these are the things that I'm looking for. Make sure you put it in your CV. Find a way to put it there in your CV. And when you put it, also find a way to defend it, because they will call you and ask you before they will even present you to the company for interview. They'll call you and ask you. You have to make sure you keep mentioning it and relate it to your CV and the job. That's what I can say. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's the little I can contribute to help.
Yeah, thank you so much for the contribution. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I don't know if I can this point to buttress what she was trying to say. I guess that's what we call transferable skills. Okay, there are those skills you can actually move from your previous job to the new role you are actually trying to transition into. Okay, they are transferable skills which are great, and I want you to take notes that there are two types of skills that are very important on your CV. The first one is the hard skills. And the second one is the soft skills. The hard skills are the technical skills that actually gives you the expertise to work in that very role. And then the soft skills are those skills you bring in, just like I said, this is where the transferable skills from your other previous role can actually come in. Such it could be in terms of communication. You have an excellent communication skills, or you have PR skills, or whatsoever skill it could be. Okay, so when you're starting out newly, you're actually transitioning into a new role. Your technical skills does play a great role in landing you a job. In fact, that is one of the things that you can use to convince a recruiter or an employer in your career objective. You have to show them that you have the skill sets they are looking for. You understand? Even though you don't have the number of years or the experiences or the volume of experiences, you have to show them you have the technical capacity You understand? And this is oftentimes in the technical skills that I'm talking about. Oftentimes the technical skills give you away. And oftentimes you can, your certifications or or all those trainings you take could actually do you a whole lot of good at this point, okay?
Thank you very much, Cecilia. You can't emphasize this more than what you have said. Any other question? Because time is not our friend when we are discussing this. We can continue talking about CV until the day breaks. Any other person that has any question or something concern? Okay, whilst you're thinking about that, Chiamaka, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I know you're a lawyer. I beg, don't sue me. I want you to just tell them your experience from BA to cybersecurity, how you did it.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay, no problem. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chiamaka. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself the last time I spoke. So, I'll be very quick. I actually wanted to go into tech since I came to the UK. I'm a lawyer and I practiced in Nigeria, then came to UK, and life happened. You know how it is. So I actually wanted to go into tech, but I didn't know the area of tech I wanted to be because I'm not technical at all, and I didn't want to go into an area that is too technical. So I met one of these job boards that does training on tech, and they advised me to do cybersecurity. So we landed on cybersecurity, but the cost then was, I think, £7,000 on discount. That was £7,000. So I said it was too expensive. I'll think about it later. So while at it, my friend told me about business analysts, and I went to do the training. I did the training last year. I finished my training in August, and I started applying for jobs. And for some reason, I wasn't getting any. I wasn't getting any. Yes, that's it. I'm sorry about that. I wasn't getting any calls. Eventually, I worked on my CV further, and I started getting calls, but it wasn't just working. The business and it became as if the field was saturated or something was up. And even the people that trained us had to retrain some people on technical business analyst skills and all that. I just told myself that that I wasn't going to apply anymore. In a day I can do up to 30 applications and I won't get any call. So I have a very good friend that's now advised me that why not I try cybersecurity. That is actually not that technical as I think, and it's not expensive. I told her no, that the one I was told was really expensive, and I don't have that kind of money. And she encouraged me. I decided to do the training immediately after I gave birth because I wanted to do it before. She said no, I should give birth first, and I did the training. And while I was doing the training, I already told Mr. Said, this is the area I'm looking at. That's why I said you should always have a mind of where you are going to and what you want. I told him this is the area I'm looking at. I don't want to go be too technical. I don't want to get confused. So after that, I worked on my CV, following the guide he gave us, did the CV. I try to scan my CV most times when I'm applying, but sometimes it doesn't work. I might not have the time. So I just applied. And what I did was that Mr. Said advised that we should be applying directly to the company if we can. And for you to do, the best way to do that is to go through LinkedIn. And that was what I did. I got the first call I got was the first and only interview I did. And I got a job. I'm going to start in 2 weeks. So I trained with Mr. Said, Mr. Cliff. I saw your question. I trained Mr. Said. So and that's a brief story. So my first interview, my first call, and I got a job. So trust me, for this thing to happen, I believe that anybody can actually get this job. It might not be immediately or the first interview like mine, but you can get it. Just keep putting in your all. It's difficult for me because I'm a nursing mom. I still have a baby I'm carrying here as I'm talking to you now. So if you know all the things Mr. Said asks you to do when it comes to your CV, when it comes to certifications. I don't have ISO 27001 certification, which is one of the main things this job I just got requires. But the fact that I could speak on ISO made them give me the job. I don't have the certification. You don't really need to wait until you have all the certifications to get a job. Just show that you have the knowledge. Keep going to YouTube, keep reading up. If they drop any write-ups on the group, read it. Also read other write-ups around. It will help you even as you're answering questions on your interview. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm taking everybody's time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before you leave, quickly, which
Yeah.
month did you do your training?
Okay. Oh, sorry. I forgot to say that. I did my training in May. I finished in June and July. Was it May? Ending of May. Then we finished first week in July. I did my CV immediately. That was it. I did my CV immediately. I sent it to Mr. Said, I think the next week after our training, and he reviewed it, and I started applying. So my first application was ending of July, and I got called the next day. The very next day I applied, I got called. But the interview process took time because it was 3 stages or 4 stages actually of the interview. It took time. They will get back to you. They will take time, but eventually. So I think I will say I finished in July. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to get that to people's consciousness.
Okay.
So the fact that you mentioned because I tell people this, if you remember the people teaching you BA, if you remember the class, how large it was, how many people do you have in the class?
It might be a class. That's another thing. It might be a class. We were 100 and something
That's it.
in
That's what I
one class,
wanted.
and the class before us we are 90 something.
That's
But
it.
another thing why this training is really good is we were 8 in this class, and Mr. Said kept on encouraging me. The market is not saturated. You can get in there. There is job. So the fact that we are really small gives you the opportunity to have personal touch to the training. It's not like that teaching a large class. You can ask questions and all that. And you have 1 week to also read up on what you've been taught and get ready for the next class as well. So
Thank you. Thank you for that. I don't want to take people's time more than necessary. The reason why I'm asking you all those questions is that you see, when they've been talking about BA for some time now, people forget one thing. BA started from project management, and like that, it pivoted. Project management is still there, and you have BA. So BA, even company that I work for, I give you this example. We have graduates coming in 27 for graduate experience just to do internship. Out of this number, is it 24, 27? I can tell you for a fact, you can take it to the market, 24. 15 out of these people are coming for BA. And they didn't study anything related to BA. Graduates coming for internship. And out of these, 3 were for project management. Add it to 15, that's 18. How many remaining? 6. 4 out of those are for data analysis. Only 2 came for cybersecurity. So the thing I'm trying to tell you is that even the government all over the world, they are trying to sponsor people to come to cybersecurity. That is how huge the labor market is. But it's not as if because there are a lot of vacancies, they will just tell you, okay, Chiamaka, come, we employ you. They will interview you. You must say something about cybersecurity. So that is why you go for training, you equip yourself, read at night. I had a guy who was doing security in the day, physical security, standing. No, sorry, in the night. He would do security. In the daytime, after sleeping for a while, he would be applying for cybersecurity. And when he got his own job, he got it with a bank, one of these banks. He became information security manager. So I have stories like that of people that, thank God, we've been able to help to come to the industry. So the opportunities are there. It just depends on what effort you can put into it. So if BA is what you want, go for it. We'll just bring it out to your consciousness. In the class of people that I'm teaching now, the class, some of them, they've tried BA before they came back to me. So, and I know what I'm saying. So if you want something that gives you rest of mind for a long time, and you're proud of doing, cybersecurity is one of them. And I say this with all intent and purposes. It's not as if we are bragging about it. People have come into the industry and they've been able to do many things, achieve a lot with it. So if you think that makes sense to you, get in touch. Unfortunately, this year we are maxed out. Our training will be for next year. We want to relax. Onome, I saw you there. That was my first miracle lady. I don't know if she's still there. Onome finished training in November, and before you know it, December, she did an interview, just like Chiamaka. And January, she started
Good
at work.
evening.
Oh,
Good
no,
evening,
man.
everyone. Good evening. Yes, I'm a miracle.
Yes.
And I had
That's
like
how.
one interview.
Exactly. One interview, just like Chiamaka. And she was asking questions too then. She was asking questions. And she doesn't have any UK experience. So, no, man, is that the case or not?
That's correct. I was straight from Nigeria.
Exactly. And today she works with one of the public sector governments. I don't want to mention their name now. So she's a big girl. So we thank God for that. So we have stories of people like that. They've come to the class, they've taken on board what they have learned. Some, it may take some time. I have people, some will take 6 months, some will take 1 year. It depends. So it does not mean because you have not gotten it, it's not going to work. So thank you all for listening. Cecilia, I don't know if there's anything you want to add before we end the session, because we started 10 minutes ago. That's why I'm giving 10 more minutes, which is 10 past 8. We shall round up the class. So Cecilia, if there's anything you want to add.
Oh, actually, none for now, except if there are questions from me. It's all good.
Okay. Any
Yes.
question for Cecilia? Maybe you want her to help to write CV. For those that have been asking me, I need somebody to help write CV. Cecilia is here now.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello.
I can hear you.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, please, if I want you to help me write my CV, how can I contact?
I will pass on our details to you so that you can get in touch. Is that okay, Cecilia?
Oh, that's fine. That's fine, sir. Fine.
All right.
Thank you.
So that you can get in touch and she can help you in that aspect. Femi asked you, Chiamaka, I don't know
Okay,
if
thank
she's
you.
still there. Ask whether which role did you apply for? They want to know.
Okay, I'm still here. I applied for staff cybersecurity analyst, but after the whole interview, I was given senior cybersecurity analyst.
Oh, wow.
So it's the glory of God. From nothingness to somethingness to senior. You are not the first that this will happen to my students. I have somebody that we were doing engineering together before, and I said, come to cybersecurity. She said no. She said no. When she came, it was just like you. It just gave her senior straight. So congratulations once again. So you did the work, you did the job, and then you prepared and you got there eventually. So congrats for taking on board what we said, and you're an evidence to show that what we are doing, including others, that is working. So thank you for that. Doreen, my Charlie, you have something to say?
Yeah, a question for to is it Chiamaka or something? Sorry if I mentioned your name.
Chiamaka, yes. You know.
Chiamaka, okay, Chiamaka. Please, so your this thing, the job interview that you did, your qualification, do they ask you of any of the qualifications? As you said, although I came late, I heard some. You said you didn't have all. That's what I wanted to know. Because some of the jobs I'm looking at, they want this, they want that, they want this. So I don't know.
Hello. They didn't ask me about my qualification. They asked me knowledge of the frameworks. So now, normally, I of course I've done the Splunk, and I've done the Qualis. I've done that. I added it in my CV. Then for ISO, I wrote that exam. I've booked my exam, even though I've not actually booked it. Then I've done One Trust, but One Trust I've not written the exam, but I've booked the exam. But in fact, I need to even redo that training again because I didn't really understand it. So I wrote One Trust as well and wrote that I booked my exam. So they asked me questions, but they're not interested in whether you had the certification. What they wanted to know is if you have knowledge of those things. So they asked me bits and pieces on the frameworks I claimed that I knew. And I answered it well. So they asked me mostly on ISO, and then they asked me on One Trust because One Trust is the system they use in the company. They use One Trust. So I just told them, yes, that the knowledge I have of One Trust is the third party risk management, which was what the training I did, what I did on the training. And I just explained the little things I understood from the training. And that was it. They actually don't expect you to know all those things. So there are some people that it's not possible for you to know everything at a go, but they want you to be able to show that you are willing to learn and that you can communicate a little or you have little knowledge on those things. Remember, these things are basically laws that are written that you need to read up and also implement most of the time. As you do it, you get used to it. So they don't expect you to have all the certification and everything. The ones I even had the certification for, they didn't ask me anything on it because they don't use this system. They don't use Qualis. So they were not interested in all those ones. So like Mr. Said will always tell you, don't wait until you get your certification to apply. You can get this job without it. I don't have ISO certification, and that's the main thing they asked me on. The main questions they asked me were on ISO, and then on my personal achievements and my CV. That's the funny thing. On my CV, being able to tell them, they asked me why I transitioned from law. Because I wrote that I'm a lawyer. I wrote it there that the things I did as a lawyer. They asked me why I transitioned, and that you should be able to relate it so it will sync up with your cybersecurity, what you wrote that now made you go into cybersecurity. It has to link up. So they will ask you questions on those things. That's the questions, the main questions they ask me in all the stages of my interview. Mommy, I can't. Also, most importantly, I forgot to before also research on the company you're applying for, so that when they're asking you questions or when you're tailoring your CV, you tailor it towards what what will I call it now? The goals or what the organization stands for. Like if it's an organization that is into health, you can also put it in there that you have interest in charity, helping organizations in health, that you cannot, if you're like the person that said that he was in care, you can also link up your care somehow into it. It will make them get endeared to you because that is also what helped me too. Because my organization is kind of into they produce equipment, some health equipments for sick people. So I had to relate it to myself also that I'm interested in helping people, that this kind of sickness is something that is personal to me. You have to also put it there. So like I know it's difficult to make this personal touch in your CV for all the applications you do, but one point you should know that if you see a CV or a job description, sorry, that you really like, you can take your time and arrange your CV for those ones. You can do the CV scan, make sure that everything aligns, check the JD very well. Then for the others, that if you don't have the time, you can just apply. So if you pick out like 5 or 6 out of maybe 30 that you do and do these things, there is no way you will not get a call. Because this one, I had to take my time and they had everything I wanted. It was remote, fully remote. It had everything I wanted. So I took my time to read the JD and then make sure that everything in the JD, the most important points were in my CV. Then I applied. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
All right. Chiamaka, thank you so
very much.
much.
you.
On this note, I want to render my appreciation to Abasilia Consulting, that's in person of Cecilia Abba. Thank you for accepting the invitation to be a guest today. I think everybody here can attest to the fact that what you said to them today, very useful, and myself too. You have already brought to my consciousness some of the things that I've forgotten about CV writing. So hopefully, I know some people here will get in touch for asking for help on how to write their CV. Like I said, I don't have the time of writing CV. So that's why I wanted somebody like yourself to help me in that angle of that need. So whoever wants that to be done, just get in touch and I'll link you up with Cecilia so that we can help you in any way or shape or form that we can do so. And if you think you are interested in the cybersecurity training, and like I said, get in touch. There are two ways you can get recorded session, which will be useful, but there's something like live session. For live session, it will be next year. So on that note, we'll give you more details because very soon you'll be seeing our training on Lendesk because we are now on Lendesk, but we are taking our time to put everything together. So you see our academy on Lendesk. So thank you very much for joining today and keep safe. I'll see you some other time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Said, and thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.